Hello, UCR. What's your favorite scary movie?
Well, the time has officially come. We've been threatening this for a very, very long time. But, guys, it's here. We are going to discuss, we're going to start to discuss the very long journey from Woodsboro to Windsor College to Hollywood and back to Woodsboro. We are following the story of one Miss Sidney Prescot. It has to be only one movie series. And we're starting with the origi from 1996.
There's just not enough time in the day to discuss this.
There really isn't. Well, let's start.
I dressed for the part, guys. Just quickly.
Yes, we're all. I am.
Scream titties.
This is a cool shirt. I really like it.
Show us
That is
your
a cool
tits,
shirt.
Brooke.
Oh, look.
She's uncensored. Her titties
I'm
are uncensored.
uncensored. Sorry, guys.
She's on brand. She's representing.
She's on.
So, the first disparity we have to point out is that in Australia, Scream actually came out in 1997.
It did.
It
When I was in
did.
grade 9.
Yes, we were baby spices. So let's talk about the first time, without spoiling, the first time we saw Scream. We're going to start with Brooke today.
Oh,
Down the bottom.
gosh. You never start with
Okay.
me.
I know, I like to keep things fresh.
I actually, and this is, I saw it at the cinemas when it came out. I wasn't big into horror, but all of my school friends were. So we truanted school and went to watch Scream at the movies. And it was a lot
Fun
of fun.
times.
Yeah.
That's where we're starting. Okay, what about Ms. Katie McCarthy?
I feel like Scream was like my sexual awakening. And I'm not even kidding, because there's so many beautiful people on screen. I think I was kind of attracted to everyone. Like, oh, she's pretty. Oh, he's pretty too. And just kind of figuring things out. And let's see, 96, just starting to really get into horror. This was probably one of my first horror movies, along with Halloween, just kind of starting to dip the toes in the horror pool. And I love this movie. It is one of my comfort horror movies. I can watch it anytime, any day. It's still good. Even though I can quote pretty much every single line, it is still solidly one of my favorite films. I will never get sick of this film.
What about you, Luke?
My first viewing of Scream, so I didn't even know about the film, and some girls at school, so they knew I was a big horror nut because I started really getting into Friday the 13th and stuff around high school time. And so this was in year 9, so I was 14. And they were like, you need to watch Scream. And I missed it while it was at the theaters. So I had to get it on VHS when it was released later in 1997. And I ended up becoming obsessed with that movie. And it really made me go back into watching a lot of other old slashers, because it gave you that like buzz, like, oh, I really want to just know more now about all the references in the film, even though I was pretty up there with my horror knowledge. But Scream just reinvigorated my lust for that knowledge.
Ooh, lust. Now, my first viewing of Scream, I had just turned old. No, were we old enough to see it at the movies?
Mm-mm.
No.
Even Scream 2, I had to get mum to take me.
I had just seen it. So we were 14, right?
Yeah, when it came out.
14.
Yep.
We went for my birthday party. One person was old enough. So in Australia, you would have to be 15 to see Scream. You had to be 15. So and back in the day, they used to make you fill out a little bit of paper with your name and your birth date, so they could, like, fuck with people. And so I remember the first part of it was, are we all going to get in? Because there was like 8 of us all going, and we all did. So Hoyt Cinema, actually no, it wasn't Hoyt, it was Glendale. So back when it was a new cinema. And I just remember being utterly like spellbound by what happened in the next hour and 51 minutes. I hadn't seen a full like proper slasher movie. Like I'd seen bits and pieces. I wasn't really a huge horror fan back then, as Katie said, little bits and pieces. Like I'd seen The Exorcist and stuff like that, but not anything that was like totally opened my eyes and go, oh my god, what is this thing that we are watching? So I think it's fair to say that this movie really created a whole generation, if not generations, of horror fans. And also generations of horror fans that, unlike today, weren't afraid to do their homework, because that's what this movie did for me. Was made me go, well, I don't know what that reference is about. I'm going to watch that movie. Then I'm going to watch this movie. Then I'm going to watch this movie. Then I'm going to watch this movie. So much so that you're like, oh, okay, now I've seen a whole lot of movies. And it's, Scream is up there. I'm going to save my rating for the end because,
Oh, okay.
But, it's good time.
Scream is definitely going to be one of the first horror movies I show my kids. 100%.
Definitely. So, little bit of I guess trivia, if people don't already know. It is loosely based on a true story.
Really?
That of the Gainesville Ripper. So the Gainesville Ripper murders. There's a new
I
documentary.
did not even know this.
Well, there you go. There's a new documentary that's just coming out on Discovery Plus. So So that will be coming out soon, but I'm not going to tell you too much about that because you might want to go and find that out yourself if you like to do research. So, Katie, do you have any little fun facts about pre-production?
Pre-production? Well, a little bit of... Can I spoil it? Should I spoil it?
There will be massive spoilers, obviously. The movie is 20-something
I'll try to give.
now.
I'll try to give some that are not spoiling.
Go for it.
So the script sparked a major bidding war. Everyone wanted it. It was between 5 movie studios before Dimension Films finally bought the film for, I believe it was $400,000, and that was in the 90s, and that was a lot of money. So you can only imagine what that is now. I'm not doing the math, but I'm sure it's probably close to $1 million now. Think of some of your favorite horror directors. I know one of mine is Sam Raimi, and he was offered Scream, but he turned it down. So did George Romero, and actually Wes Craven turned it down at first too. He only came back on when a certain blonde bombshell signed on to do it. Perhaps you know her name, Drew Barrymore. Perhaps you know her.
A little bit.
Drew's part took less than a week to film. If you know the film
Now,
very well.
Let's be honest, because Drew was originally cast as Sidney Prescott.
She was. I was getting there.
And had to basically leave the production because she couldn't commit to it.
Right.
To the full role.
So she took on the role of our favorite, Casey.
And wasn't that the smartest move ever?
We're going to talk about that in a sec, so hold on to your words, kid.
Now, the part of Casey was done to just kind of divert the audience. And you'll find out why later on. After Drew took on the part of Casey, the role was offered to such stars as Brittany Murphy and Reese Witherspoon, but eventually it went to our girl, Nev Campbell, who I think no one else could have done it. No one could have done it, honestly. And I try to picture Reese Witherspoon in that role. She's just too nice.
Well, we would never have got sequels if Reese did it. I'm too good for that now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, let's not beat around the bush. Horror was in a horrible position at this time in the late 90s. We were sequeled out. We were in space. We were in hell. We were jumping bodies. We were... we were doing all kinds of things to our horror icons, or we were dead. We just killed Freddy. Poor Freddy.
Speaking of Freddy,
yep, you can hold on to that one. That's cute. That's a cute moment. but yeah, this movie, it's hard to think what would have happened to horror if this movie had never gone ahead. Like,
it would
where
be
would we
something
go?
completely different. It really would.
We would be in a different situation completely.
Look,
because
I was a big like message board nerd back around this time. I was obsessed with Friday the 13th. So I was on a Friday the 13th board. That's how I made friends with Mr. Todd Farmer and ended up hanging out with him a few
Hi,
times.
Todd. I love you.
Yeah, we love Todd. And so when Scream came out, everyone loved it, but then they didn't like the fallout. Like, oh, everything's so meta now. Like, everything's so self-referential. But where else could we have gone at that point? So I think it was a necessary moment in horror history.
Look, and it defined a generation. Like, I was just listening to a podcast then that the character of Randy Meeks, obviously played by... Like, I can't even, like, so brilliantly played too. Randy's just like,
Randy is our hero.
gold.
He's us. He is
But
us. He's the horror nerds.
He was the audience. He was the audience's point of view. And that character kind of brought us forward for Dawson's Creek, for Buffy, for all of these, you know, modern day takes on old school films and film tropes and all that kind of stuff. The whole meta thing is because of Randy and Kevin Williamson. Like,
Pretty much.
We saw it here and it's amazing. But anyway, should we just jump into the nitty gritty and start talking about the movie? Because it's a movie that we all love.
Well, let's start here. You know, credit Dimension Films. Scream. What was the
Harvey Weinstein.
What was
You
the
can't
movie,
get away from it.
What was the movie originally called, y'all?
It was a
Scary
scary
movie.
movie.
A
It was
much better
scary
choice
movie.
to switch it. A much better choice.
Right? I think it definitely tells you what kind of movie you're in for, but there are certain moments in your life that you never forget. I will never forget this scene.
Agreed.
No. That was when
Like-
I became obsessed. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, it's so
Yeah.
intense.
100%.
And it was something that I think we, especially our age group, hadn't seen, and I don't think that the horror audiences of latter day were ready for. Like, this, even though Drew Barrymore was on the comeback trail, like, this is a year after she flashed her titties to David Letterman. Yeah,
she was a big name to be doing a project like this.
Yeah, she's just starting out, and for all intent, like, I mean, it's her face on the posters and stuff. Like, it's her face. Like, you're expecting her to be the star of the movie, but the idea
And it
of
was billed as Drew Barrymore. in the
how
film as well,
much
the name.
cat and mouse, and like, I can still remember the feeling in the theater when this was happening. Like, people were gobsmacked. It's one of those moments where there was no sound, and like that first drop when the phone rings, there's a scream, and it all started out, and then it just turned on the phrase, "I want to know who I'm looking at."
Yeah.
And then
And I think you can feel the collective audience's guts drop straight to their assholes and go, "Oh God!"
and don't forget, this movie is full of iconic lines. And this one lives in infamy. It'll never die. I mean, we even use it. What's your favorite scary movie?
That's my best Roger impression. You know, it's all good. But I think that changed the game. Just that split second of "I want to know who I'm looking at" changed the game. I was like, "Oh God!"
You know what?
That
this
whole
movie-
opening scene sort of captured that intensity of like the final battle between the final girl and the
And
killer.
it's the beginning
But
of the
it
movie.
wasn't. But there was that dread there because you kind of know by the end of the film, okay, like this chick's going to be the one who comes out on top. Like you really felt like, oh, this is not going well. This is not good.
all this movie has taught me now is that I would probably survive this asshole's game because I am a walking wealth of knowledge of horror
He
movies.
still would have killed her. Come on.
I'm a
And what a
final
trick
girl.
up.
Mark my words.
I think Drew was Drew. I think poor Casey Becker was always gonna end up in the body count, but the way that it happens is still. I watched it again. I did a rewatch last night, and no matter how many times you watch it, you're just like, dude, like
It still gets it. And it's her big football player boyfriend that's gonna kick your ass.
he's big and he plays football and he's gonna kick the shit out of you.
Well, anyways, his death was
I
a
think
lot.
you were quoting Carmen Electra's.
Yeah, don't get him confused.
I did not say that, but anyways, his death was a lot gorier.
Yes, there was a lot more gory death. The MPAA was all over this, like meh, wanted to like rip it apart and take. There was Casey's death was gorier.
Yeah,
Steve's
but I
death
think it was so
gorier.
dark and
Hayden's
horrific.
death was gorier.
How do you make Casey's death gorier? That thing that haunts me to this day. Like this movie doesn't
And
scare
I think
me, but that
it's
scene.
worse. I think it's worse now that you're older as well. Like when you, like obviously once she gets attacked and we play our horror movie trivia game, which becomes synonymous with the film.
Mhm.
The scariest moment or the most heartbreaking moment in West is when she can see her parents and she tries to scream out to them and she can't.
See, the part for me is the
And
mom
then
picking
mother
up the
finds
phone and
her.
going, "Casey, baby." Like as a parent now, I can't even imagine like listening to your child die on the phone.
And they done that in another film that came at the same time as Scream was Eye for an Eye with Sally Field, and it's just disgusting thing to hear. It's just awful.
And you
Yeah.
know that, and you know her dad understands what's happening. Like the mother's just horrified, and dad's like, "Go, just go." And then you look up, and there she
Get
is.
out to the Mackenzies.
Fun fact: there's another movie that tells the people to go to the Mackenzie's house. What movie is it?
Halloween H20.
There you go. Little throwbacks.
There we go. I win.
And they also use a soundtrack for this film for H20 as well.
Yes. Well, if we ever discuss H20, we're gonna talk a lot about a movie that we thought was amazing, and then the more you find out about it, you're like, oh.
Yeah. It's just, oh. Hey, this
and
could be
again,
great.
a movie that never would have happened if this movie didn't happen. Let's
This-
be honest.
This movie opened a lot of doors for a lot of scary movies.
This movie
So-
got Jamie Lee moist again.
Paul, Casey, and Steve, they are out. And within
They
the
are big
first,
out.
10 minutes, I think it is, that whole...
Oh, did you guys
you
think Drew was going to be the final girl?
Well, this is the thing, and I
I
listened
kind
to
of
the-
did when I watched
the
it.
podcast
I
I
didn't
was
think she was going to
listening to.
die. I thought
Yeah.
she was going to get out of this and be the main character, and have this stalker attack her for the rest of the movie while everyone else died.
Well, that was
The podcast I was just listening to made a really good point. Is that at that age, you don't really, unless you're like, I don't know, a big Hollywood nerd, you don't really understand the levels of fame that much. So I knew who Drew Barrymore was, but I also knew who Nev Campbell was
right.
at the same time. Nev Campbell was on TV every week this time, and Drew Barrymore was having a random comeback. So you're like, okay, it could be, but by the time we started,
Well, she was the
I think
draw.
she wasn't coming back. You don't bounce back from that.
The whole point of her character was to confuse the audience. Because you think, oh, Drew Barrymore's the big star. She's going to hang on. Wrong. Dead. An epic death.
Okay, so they are gone and done and dusted, literally.
Gutted
And then
/ gone.
Gutted / thrown around.
Yeah.
We meet probably next to Jamie Lee Curtis, the final girl.
She's my final girl. I put
Nev
her on
Campbell
top.
as
over-
Sidney Prescott.
I put her over
She's
Laurie.
my girl. She's my girl
She's
all
my
the
choice.
way.
I think it's not so much Jamie's fault either, but Jamie's complicit in all of this. That Laurie has had a few different narratives that just don't mesh, and the characters being a little bit different in each of these narratives, whereas Sydney's consistent. So you really feel that connection with Sydney. This is a journey we've rode with her. Whereas, Laurie's copped off, got back on.
See,
Got
yeah,
back
where
off,
where
done her
Halloween
hair.
started out, as the Laurie Strode story, Scream has always been the Sidney Prescott story.
Yeah.
And-
It happened because of Sydney. Do you know what I mean? She is the catalyst of it all.
And I
Yep.
think the difference between Laurie and Sydney is while they're both victims, I feel like Laurie chooses to be more of a victim. Sydney's traumatized. Don't get me wrong. That girl's in therapy, but she is choosing not to succumb to her trauma.
Look, I give Jamie that though too. As that was a big thing she wanted when she did H2O. She wanted to show PTSD and the effects of trauma. So she had the alcoholism and stuff, but it was all glamorous, seeing her in a suit with perfectly styled hair, like, oh, I'm just gonna sneak a naughty drink while I'm at work. But when they did the newer film, she really went there. She's like, most people that have fucked up from bad shit look like shit, live like shit, and she's doing all that.
And
Yeah.
that's the way some people deal with trauma. Some people are more Sydney and they kind of buck up and kind of go for it, and some people really just can't. And both are valid. They are.
And again, I'm gonna drop the name of their podcast because it's so good. If you guys really enjoy horror movies and like deep dives, Halloweenies, the podcast you need to listen to, their Scream podcast. Let me have a look at it. This is just part 1. I'll bring it up. Sorry, excuse me. Talk amongst yourselves for a second.
I love a good fellow horror podcast.
All right, their Scream podcast goes for 2 hours and 59 minutes.
Oh,
Wow.
That's
Nice.
how deep.
Halloween
That's how
is
deep
our
they go.
sisters now.
Yeah, Halloween is I love, and they break it down from pre-production to post-production to everything. They do sequels. So Halloween is we love you. I love you. I love you.
I'm about to love you because I'm going to dive in.
Yeah. And all of their other Screams are 2-parters after that. So we're not going to keep you for 3 hours, though, kids. It's all right.
I mean, we can.
we could.
I
But
was like,
let's
there's enough
talk.
to
Let's
discuss.
talk a little bit more about Nev Campbell. Obviously, famous for Party of Five at this point, and I think that really helped her. The fact that she is an actress and not just a pretty face, because again, Halloweenies pointed out a lot of Nev's shots are close-ups, and in a horror genre, that's not necessarily true. When you think about Friday the 13th and other movies, like other series like that, you don't necessarily get a facial close-up for a lot of things, and because her acting is so strong, like I watched it again and went, God damn, like you deliver, girl. And you can, I think the thing is, you see her process information. She's not just going, and the next line is this. I will react here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, I'm obviously a Nev fan girl. So what else? Who else has got something to say?
No,
About
I love Nev too, and I like that she's a girl's girl. I mean, she's relatable. Like you really feel like, okay, I went to high school with that girl. Like she's not just some unobtainable supermodel, just diva. She is just like, she's your neighbor. She is the girl in your class. I think that's fantastic. I love characters that feel more real to you than just some token horror movie character. She is,
And we also meet. Now, we all thought he was a Johnny Depp clone, right?
Yeah.
The Johnny Depp machine had exploded and spat out a Skeet Ulrich.
I'm slipping.
like I said, sexual awakening.
Oh my God! Look at it though. Look at the polo and a t-shirt underneath.
What's going on with Nev's
It was
eyes
the
though?
night.
She's just like, oh yeah.
Well, he was about
She's
to get,
mid-acting. Leave her alone. Dad was knocking at the door.
he was also like mid balls deep. She's probably trying to recover.
No, that was when Dad was coming to
She's
the
still
door.
a virgin
It's
then,
like, get away.
Katie. Gosh.
Such a tease.
Yeah, so
Can we just talk about?
look,
Can
we
we
need
talk
to talk
about his
about
line,
Billy.
though?
Right. We need to talk about Billy first, though, because
Okay.
as
So
soon as
Steve
you saw
Ulrich
that
is
dude,
Billy.
you're like, he's a killer. Right? Like, I thought for sure. I'm like, there's no way that this guy's innocent of anything.
Oh wait, what? Remind me what he says to her when he crawls in the window.
He'd
What
been
was he
watching The Exorcist.
and thought
And
of
it
you?
was edited for TV. It's made us sort of think about you.
PG-13.
Yeah.
Does
All the
that
good
not
part-
scream
all
to
the
you?
good parts were cut out. You're like, oh,
Does that not scream to you? Hey, he might be a sociopath.
a little bit.
Like
Well,
me, I was watching the Exorcism. You know, the
The,
scene where she
Exorcist.
with a. I'm sorry, the Exorcist.
Crucifix. And they didn't even show the crucifix go in.
Just
Too sad for him.
just saying.
Yeah. And of course, we get an iconic line and moment at the end of this. Would you settle for a PG-13 relationship?
Brooke, would you settle for a PG-13 relationship?
God, no, I liked it too much. Sorry.
Yeah, we all know who Brooke is in this cast, but it's okay. To admit her in, you know.
She ain't Sydney.
I am not Sidney Prescott, guys.
I think Billy Loomis was probably one of my first crushes. He's just so pretty.
He's got that bad boy thing because he'd been in The Craft before this, so
Yeah,
You know.
I hadn't seen The Craft yet, but
and he was a doucheberry.
he was.
I always
but
thought he was a bit skinny, but he's very
I
pretty.
like skinny boys.
He's a very pretty boy. Wasn't
We
he?
know.
Pretty and menacing. That's the way we like him.
Like my girl's thick and my boy's skinny. Sorry.
So we get to school next day, and of course we meet
Oh, Rose.
the one and
McGowan.
only Tatum Riley,
Oh,
played
I also- Oh,
exclusively wonderfully by Rose McGowan.
again,
Now,
probably
yeah.
one of my first crushes.
Look,
And-
I will give this to Rose that she played. So she was kind of meant to be like the bimbo-y best friend, right? But she was very layered. Like, obviously, it's good writing as well. Kevin Williamson is an amazing writer. Wes Craven's an amazing director. But Rose really brought these different layers. Like, she wasn't just a ditzy bimbo-y friend. She was very protective of her friend. She was quite an empathetic girl, and she wasn't an idiot either. She was smart.
No, she was
So-
very smart. Her
Well, it's
relationship
I
with
think
her
it's
brother
important to
kills me.
realize that no one in this movie is an idiot. Like, they're not.
Oh.
They're not like
They play into the tropes because
They're not
they're
Friday
sort of,
the 13th Part 7. Oh, I've heard a strange noise. I'm gonna wander outside.
or when Laura Marie
Fair
went
enough.
and thought, "Oh, these brown panties are sexy." Sorry, Lauren, I love you so much, but you even know, girl, you know.
I'd argue Randy is. He's not stupid. He's naive. I'll give you that.
naive.
He's
But
not
he's
the
meant to be
brightest
naive.
crayon in the box. Let's put
Okay,
it that way.
all right. I'll let you have that one. You're right.
Now we also meet a couple of other characters. Another icon,
Oh,
Gail.
one and only
Fucking
Ms. Gail
Weathers.
Weathers,
wasn't
Yeah.
she just the best bitch in a movie?
the best
You know,
bitch.
They weren't sure she could do a bitch, and she's like, "Oh, watch."
Oh, watch.
Oh,
She
wow.
was great.
And if you need further proof, if anyone has not seen her TV show Dirt, oh my god, she goes from bitch to cunt in that show. She's
Punch count
Lucy,
one.
Lucy Spiller is the
Oh,
devil.
two, technically.
Is the
Okay.
devil. So if you enjoyed her as Gail in this, Lucy's next level. Like Lucy's evil, but it's good.
Did you recognize another reporter in that little press
Yeah.
junket?
How's
Who
it
was
feel to be honest, brutally butchered?
Who
How's
was
it feel?
Who was it?
That was Linda Blair. We already talked about The Exorcist.
we did, and we
Linda
got to.
Blair.
So there's a couple of Exorcist references straight up, so we know this movie's really aware of
The
itself.
movie's done
by
its
this point.
homework before it started. Like it's literally started. It
Oh, yeah.
has these little horror pockets that people go, "Ooh, fun little Easter eggs." Now, Courtney, I only knew at this point from Masters of the Universe.
Really? Because most other people would have known her from Friends by then.
I
I
didn't
knew her
really-
more from Masters too, actually. To be honest,
I didn't really
Courtney
get to
Cox.
watch Friends because it was on a night that I was not home. So I think I saw the first season, but more recognizable for me was going, oh, she's the girl from Masters of the Universe.
And Courtney sort of had like a slasher chase scene in that movie too, where she's screaming and running and saying, help me from these monster things. And so it kind of wasn't a huge leap when I saw her in this. I'm like, yeah, she can do horror. Like, she knows how to be a scream queen.
Gail is probably my second favorite character in this beautiful.
Who's your favorite? Is it Sid's?
Obviously, it's Sidney. I think
who is everyone's favorite character, real quick, around the room?
I think it has to be Sidney, right?
It's
I
gotta
think
be Sidney.
Sidney Prescott movie.
Sydney. Okay, top 5: Sidney, Gail,
And
Dewey,
then of course
Randy.
we meet
Dewey.
Deputy Dewey Riley, Tatum's big
Oh, look
brother.
how handsome and young
He was
David
so,
Arquette
that's what I was like. He was such a baby.
He's handsome.
Looking back there, I was like, you were such a baby face.
I never got it because I was obviously a lot younger than him when everyone's saying he's like handsome and stuff. And I'm like, really? Is he? He
was
really is.
So
I
drugged
definitely
out
had
in
a
these
Dewey
films.
crush.
Dewey crush.
Would you have Dewey
100%.
babies? Would you
I
have little
would.
Dewey bubs? Yeah.
100%.
But I think that this whole teen ensemble cast was great. There's obviously Randy, Stu, and Billy there as well.
Well, we haven't mentioned Stu yet.
We haven't
which is
mentioned
Matthew
Stu.
Lillard.
He's a very interesting character, isn't he?
Oh,
He is.
he says besides the "What's your favorite scary movie" line, he has my favorite line in this film. It'll come later.
Yeah,
But he
but I
has
kind
my
of feel Stu was the
favorite.
bridge between Billy and Randy. He was the in-betweener. He was the
But it's
reason
very
they
high
were all-
school. That's what I mean. It was very
Yeah.
high school. You're friends with friends who are friends with friends.
All right,
Yeah.
you guys
Like I don't think this group of people
would have hung
hung
out
out
otherwise.
a lot together.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
It was
That's-
because Tatum and
And
Sidney were friends. And then they had
Stu-
their
yeah.
boyfriends that obviously
I
they
think
meant they
Stu
had
and
interact.
Stu and Randy were friends, and Stu and Billy were friends. It wasn't like that they were this organic group that happened, but that was very much high school.
All right, here we go. Marry, fuck, kill.
Out of those
Oh,
cast,
right.
Randy,
Out of-
Billy, Stu. Go.
oh,
Well, I
kill
think
Randy, fuck Billy, and probably marry Stu. No, actually, no, marry Randy, kill Stu, fuck Billy. Endlessly. Maybe I should marry him being, I don't know. This is
yeah,
getting
you
too
don't want to be
complicated.
fucking murdered either. Like,
Well, no,
I
that
think
would
you're
probably be a
safe with
bummer.
Randy. You're safe with Randy. I think I would agree.
Yeah,
You just got to go with like Billy's just that cute, that
Yep.
that left
The bad
hangover of
boy.
the hangover of the 80s cute.
Really bad, actually.
Yeah, I'm just
Fucking kills
gonna-
your mum.
gonna,
And Rachel too.
just
Jeez.
fuck the shit out of Billy. I'm gonna marry Randy when I'm done with Billy, and if Stu ever comes around, I'm gonna fucking kill him.
Oh, well, there we go.
And Brookie, where do you stand in this sick shit?
I'm like, look, I don't want to kill anyone because look, I'm too pretty to
You
go to
gotta.
prison.
You gotta.
But
There's no
look,
choice.
why do I have to? Can't I just invite them all around and just shut
Do a
them off?
gangy.
No.
Just do a gangy.
No, it's a marry, fuck, kill for a reason.
Make it a party.
I don't like to follow rules, Katie McCarthy.
All right. Well,
So we
just do it.
jump from our high school cuteness. Of course, we have one of the stranger cameos of Mr. Henry Winkler
Oh, this was
as the
strange.
principal.
this broke my heart.
G'day, Fonzie. How are you, man?
Yeah.
And
the
we
pause.
get this is the first hint that we get that something's up with Sydney as well. She was daughter of, and that's all we get. And then Tatum, of course, said in this scene, it's the worst they've seen. It's really bad. And the face she pulls as she walks away is gold. I'm like, you go. And so as it says, it's bad. She's out. It's like, oh, I should put my foot in it. How do we feel about Principal Himbry?
I thought he was the killer. Dead set.
It was creepy,
My
wasn't it? Like the way
initial-
that he touched her
Yeah.
face, and it was just like,
Yeah.
ooh.
My initial thing was like, dude, he's got to be the slasher.
No,
And that was my initial go-to.
I actually didn't.
I
But I
didn't
didn't
either.
think he was going to be anything more. I thought maybe he was going to be what's the word? Like
A
a
red
decoy.
herring?
Yeah, red herring.
Oh, he.
And I thought
What?
but I didn't think what was going to happen to him happened.
No, neither did I. I didn't think he was the killer, but I also didn't think he was going to get what he got.
Which was a lot of knife wounds to the chest.
Yeah. But look, and looking back now, like even last night, that fountain scene, like, where it's like, it's a lot of exposition, but it's done in a really good way, really well written way, where you don't feel like you're going, and then this happened, but I was not there, blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? Like, even the I didn't kill anybody, nobody said you did. It's like, okay. So we'll play this game while we're going. Who killed Casey and Steve?
Well, there's
Are we doing spoilers straight up because people should
they
have seen
said it,
Scream by
didn't
now.
they?
Come on.
They said it.
Yeah, they did, but people should have seen Scream by now as
People
well.
should have seen.
It's still.
And if they haven't, it's their
I'm
own
pretty
problem.
sure it was.
No,
it was Stu
it can't
that
be
killed-
Stu because Stu was with Tatum.
But wasn't Stu pissed that Casey turned him down or something like that?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Billy
but-
killed him.
Oh.
Killed her for him.
And this is the conversation that Halloweenies had.
Aha.
This probably
I
started out
misinterpreted
as
it.
some kind of strangers on a train moment. I hate my girlfriend. You hate your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend. Let's kill each other's girlfriends, and then it turns into this fucking moment of.
All
Yeah,
right. Well,
fuck
since,
smash
since
her
we're
mother,
still
too.
going that way,
So if it's that way, all of that had to be Billy. That
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
so
And it would
That's
actually
me.
make sense with the brutality of it too, actually.
yeah.
When you watch the different attacks back, and again, especially in Scream 2, you can tell. I think you can tell who was under the mask at the same time. But we jump into now probably I think my favorite scene of the movie, where Sidney first deals with Ghostface, like fucking iconic. And this is where she's like, you're like, oh my god, she's gonna get like, she just turns it around straight away.
She doesn't give a
She's
shit.
like, nah,
Yeah?
bruh,
You see me?
not my
Yeah?
game, not my game. But the face acting, I can't get over it. Now that it's been pointed out to me, as soon as like, as that turn of the dime, and she's like, oh fuck, this is serious. Like that moment, those moments where you're like, like Nev Campbell, gold star, and bitch can fight. Like from the get go, you were not going to get one over on Sidney Prescott. I think, like from that explosion out of the cupboard behind her, the closet. Sorry, and she was just in it. And I love that, you know, some big breasted girl who can't act, who'll be always running up the stairs when she's running out the front door.
And she ran
And
up the
she ran up-
stairs.
But
Because people do when they panic.
That's the satire. That's the satire
Yeah.
of the movie. I
Yeah.
think it's brilliant. But I did notice for the first time last night, there is a jump cut where the door's closed. She turns around, the door's open. He comes back, the door's closed. And I've never noticed that before in my 20-something years of viewing the movie. So
I
watch
mean,
that.
you know for a fact that it's Stu chasing her because of the
Is
door.
it though?
Yes, because it's well, number one, because of the door, because Billy knows that her door does that, because she did it when he snuck in her window the night.
But could it not be
Sorry.
both of them?
Well, he's probably there because he jumps right into the window afterwards too.
I think
I'm
he
sure
was
he's
waiting.
there, but I don't.
And
think he's
has
in
the
that.
phone. Like, hello.
Yeah, so maybe.
So is
Stu's
Billy
doing
making the calls and Stu's doing the stabbing?
That's what I'm saying. Probably this time,
Or trying to stab?
trying.
But Sidney was not having it. Sidney Prescott was
Nope.
not having that.
Can we also talk about her like basically instant messaging 911? Like,
On
Oh, we
AOL or
need
some shit.
we've kind of jumped past a big plot point that is, you know, a big turner for the series. We find out just
Sorry.
through the television that Sydney's mother was raped and murdered a year earlier allegedly by a man named Cotton Weary, who was, you know, found guilty. And Gail Weathers is trying to get Cotton out of jail. So that's big for later.
yes.
But
And
yeah,
Sydney is the star witness that put him
yeah,
away.
Sydney is the star witness because she was in the house.
And that's
And
why
this-
there's a lot of tension
and-
between Gail and Sydney.
Yeah, and like, hello, Would you still live in the house where your mother was brutally raped and murdered?
Apparently.
Probably in today's climate you would, because it's really hard.
Yeah,
to
it's
find
really hard to find a
properties.
house, but like, interesting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wonder what's going through the dad's head. Like, let's just stay here.
Well, not a lot, obviously. It's the year anniversary of his wife's brutal rape and murder in that house, and he's leaving his daughter by such that piece.
Oh, there's the idiot of the film.
Good dad award. Good
Found
dad
him.
award.
Found him.
So yeah, obviously Sydney evades the killer. And yeah, 911 for the deaf.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I just learned something, folks. Oh my god.
There you go. Yeah. It's actually
Oh,
it's
how smart was she?
it's a phone interface for people who are deaf, or was for back in the day, MS DOS. Typey.
Wow.
There you go. Blow your mind.
Thank you. Thank you for teaching me that.
As Billy
I really didn't
explodes through the window again.
know. It just
He
makes a nice
explodes a
habit
lot
of
in this
doing that,
movie,
right?
doesn't
He
he?
does.
Sure
But
does.
He drops that phone. I was like, it's over. I'm like, call it off.
Done.
It's him. I have no doubt that it is this dude, right? It is
Now,
this dude.
Do you think he did that on purpose?
Yep. Yep.
Do you think it was like a planting it there?
Yep.
I don't know if it was on purpose. I think it could have been an accident, because why would Sidney care? Why would Sidney care if Stu was trying to kill her?
That's true. I mean, I'd take personal offense to someone
Because
trying to kill me, but,
That
yeah.
I think,
That's
just trust
and
him
again, thanks to
doesn't
Halloweenies, thanks to Halloweenies, we figured out that Billy called Stu as his phone call from the jail.
Ah,
'Cause
really?
remember later in the movie, Sidney goes, "Who did you call?" And he
Mhm.
said, "My dad." And then Sidney's like, "No, Sheriff Burt called your dad. I was there. I didn't get an
Ah.
answer." So there you go. Halloweenies is living it up this podcast. I was like,
Mhm.
that's right. They did do that. I was like, so we get to see Deputy Dewey at work. Ah! I had my mask. I should have done it. It's gone.
Oh my god. Dewey and Tatum.
Brother, sister, like totally, right?
So fucking good. Mom says when I wear that badge, you have to treat me like a man of the law.
And she's just the little sister to the T, right? She's the little sister.
As a little sister, I can vouch. I would treat my brother like that too.
But of course, another iconic moment happens. I'll send you a copy.
Oh, bam. Bitch went down.
Damn, bitch went down.
I'll send you a copy.
Oh,
And we know that Sydney's got a mean right hook. Like, that's what I mean. Like, so many
Well,
of these
Sydney's
final-
already fought the bloody killer by
so many
that
of these
point.
final
no,
girls
she
are just
hadn't.
like,
just no. Cindy wasn't having it.
she's like, don't fuck with me, slut. Like, I will punch those crispy bangs off your
Fuck
face,
you,
and those
Courtney Cox.
those foils are going straight out your head. You're gone.
Goal, Gail, you should have kept those bangs. Those were working for you.
Let's
you
talk
a
about
copy.
how all the cast look back. We talked about David Arquette. He looked cute, but like Nev looked like that. We touched on that too. That really girl next door, youthful, innocent look.
Mhm.
But yeah, Gail
Courtney's
had that
gorgeous
bitch
in
look.
this
Oh
movie.
my god!
She's gorgeous in this movie.
My
Yeah.
cat just snuck up behind me. I had a heart attack.
Oh, Katie's pussy set her off again.
There he is. Jesus! Oh, I'm just like looking at the camera and I just see something behind me. Like,
On
Oh
air
my God.
screamies.
Jesus.
So yeah, and then we get another really, I don't know, I like the phone calls in this first movie. It's like, oh god, what's gonna happen next? And yeah, that next time where where she's at Tatum's house, you know, chilling, and then this killer will just not let up. So that's obviously Stu,
Yes.
Yeah.
because
because-
Billy's in jail.
So Billy probably told Stu to call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like playing this backwards, like
the
retconning of who to find.
What do you
did
think,
what.
Loki? You
He's
think
like,
Stu
I think
did
I'm
it?
gonna eat your face while you die, bitch.
He's like, you next, bitch.
You next. He's like,
Ghostface
pops a
is
little
right
claw.
there. There he is, Ghostface.
Pops a little claw. And then Sydney goes to school the next day.
Who does that?
Mate, she must be a good
Hey,
student.
I stayed at work after I got bashed on the hospital grounds. I still went to work.
And I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't
Well,
have
I
gone to
did.
school.
So let's
I
not
would-
judge Sydney. People are different, okay?
I'm not
Sid-
judging.
I think Sydney's a
okay, I'm
good
not
student.
judging her. I'm not judging her. I'm asking how, like,
She's resilient. Her mum's already died. Is this really
I
the
was
worst
gonna
thing that's
say-
fucking happened
She's
to
not
her?
an absentee.
it
She's
shows
going.
her-
She's going for that
Yeah.
fucking. At
she's
end
going
of
for that
year,
perfect
I
attendance
won. Yeah,
award.
perfect
I-
attendance. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it shows a resilience. It sets a tone for her character that she's not just going to back down and fall into a heap
She won't be
when all of
intimidated.
these things happen. I feel
Yeah.
like it goes a long way to describing her
Mhm.
character to the people watching.
That's a good
And
point.
we get a Billy and Sydney reunion.
Oh, yes.
Cringy.
Okay.
And then
no.
when they redid it with Tori Spelling,
No.
oh, it was the best.
Don't
But-
talk about that.
no, wait, that's the
Don't talk
next
about
one.
that.
We'll
So
go to that
cute.
later.
But like,
Next
even
time.
that you're like, oh, you were just so creepy. It's like,
Mm.
why? Like, I would never be alone with you again.
I would
no,
just
I
kick him
wouldn't
in the
either.
dick and run away.
Kick him in the dick and run away. You don't think I did it, did you?
But we have one
Yeah,
of
I
Luke's
do.
favorite scenes coming up.
Fuck yeah, I do
Favorite
think you did
scene.
it.
Sydney in the bathroom
All right,
Oh,
so let's
with-
talk
yes.
about this one.
with
I've actually
amazing
reshot that
actresses.
scene.
Who's in the bathroom?
I think
Oh.
that's Stu. I think that's
think-
got to be Stu. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay, so
agree
that's
with you.
Stu. And then that other chick, the blonde cheerleader, was like in her 30s, but that's okay.
Homicide is out.
That's okay.
So suicide
Yeah, it
is
wasn't
out.
the suicide's
Homicide is
out.
much healthier for it. Something
Like,
smashing.
Where do
Where
you
did you get this shit? Ricky Lake. Said it. I
No, but my
really,
favorite
really,
line is-
I really,
favorite line
really,
is-
really, 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 really hope that they have found those two actresses
And kill them
for
in
the new one, and they're just playing soccer mums. They're
They're just
like
playing
they,
soccer.
they have to be mums. They have to be mums in the new movie.
Should they die or should they just be
They
random
should get
characters again?
fucking brutally murdered.
Brutally murdered.
God.
Because she
Could
was
you
such a bitch.
imagine?
She's like, maybe she's a slut, just like her
Like her
mother.
mother.
That is
Oh.
terrible.
I know, and it's
Yeah,
just
guess
that
what?
it's
People
that
are
teenage
terrible.
worst moment of hearing what everyone thinks about you. Like,
You know,
yeah.
and at that moment, if I were Sydney, I would just try to make it awkward or something, just like just like make a fart.
Or
noise
just
or
killed
something.
those bitches and went, the killer was just here.
Well, I mean, like I would just try to make them just like just like
But
get them out
again,
of
she
there.
comes out of that bathroom, and you get what she's feeling when she looks in the mirror and says "pathetic" and looks at herself.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, bitch! Like, why are you so good at your job? Like, I know that like you dealt with trauma every week on bloody Party of Five, man. Those kids should have just ended it straight up. Like,
No, I never saw.
but
Party of
who
Five.
didn't
That's
love?
Scott
Who didn't?
Wolf. I would have showed up
Who
to
did
work
not
every day
love
to
Party
work
of
too.
Five? If you are, especially, it was a great
Okay,
show
I didn't
when
watch
we were
it.
teenagers because you know how when you're a
I
teenager,
have never
you got a
watched
lot
it
of
properly.
I've just.
you
I've
have a
even-
lot of
I've even
emotions. You
got
need
it.
to
I've
sit and
actually
watch
got
Party
it
of
on
Five
DVD,
and
and I still
sob.
haven't watched
You're
it properly.
I know. Party of Five gave us Lacey Chabert, so I kind of
And
feel like
Jennifer
I need to
Love
watch it.
Hewitt. Hello,
No one cares about Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I do.
No.
Oh, fight.
Rude.
Sorry, I'm gonna take. Give me
So
Lacey and
good.
Nev. Done.
Party of Five is responsible for a lot of casting in like the early 2000s, like late 90s. There a lot of
Especially in
their
the
cast was
slashers.
very prolific, as opposed to a show like Buffy, which was more popular, but their cast wasn't as popular. Like
Alison
even
Hannigan did American Pie.
yeah,
Seth
but
Green
I'm
did a
talking
lot of
like
films.
even people that play
Oh,
random boyfriends on
Green.
Party of
Oof.
Five have gone on to have movie careers and stuff like that. It's
Oh,
just like-
yep.
Well,
It was yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna compare the two, who's had? Do it another time.
Yeah.
Do it another time. Let's talk about the movie. So, you see our favorite principal say, hello to Fred, and who is Fred but Wes Craven dressed in a Freddy?
What do you call me? What do you know? Not you, Fred.
It was a cute cameo. He did a cameo, and did he do one in all of his films? The first two he definitely did.
I
I
wouldn't
think
have
he-
done one in Cursed. Ooh.
I wouldn't have. Ooh, that wouldn't have saved it.
Let's talk. We'll talk about stinkers of the week for a while ago.
That wouldn't have saved it. That nothing could have saved that. Not one damn thing.
Yeah, but Principal Himbry shows he's a bit of a hard ass and expels. That was a lot, wasn't it?
I thought it was a lot. And hold on, these
But
students
come
are,
on. Someone's
these students are in the
mum's
principal's
dead, and then
office
some other
because
people
they're
are dead.
running
Like,
through the halls in the scream masks, and principal is not having it. Calls them little shits. Little shits.
Desensitized little shits.
Still little shits. The way he's swinging around those scissors.
Yeah.
Man, number one, who the fuck has scissors that big just sitting around? My
That's
God.
why I thought he was
Fonz
a
does,
killer.
man, the Fonz.
And he's just like, he's whipping around like he doesn't care what happens to him.
Yeah.
It was wild.
So, of course, in true American style, school gets cancelled because there's a serial killer. Let's have a party?
Uh-oh.
What?
But, you know,
what
that
film haven't we
happens.
seen that happen in?
That happens.
They've done it in Halloween.
I hate to, yeah.
They've
look,
done it in
there was a lot of criticism about the kids later on when they find out the Principal Himbry is murdered, which
And
he
they're like,
does
let's
get
run
murdered.
before they take him down.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, who would do that? But my
Let's go
principal
see his
actually-
body.
my principal actually committed suicide, and it was a big dramatic moment at school. So I do understand like I wasn't at school. He didn't get gutted and hung for a flagpole or whatever. But you know,
Yeah, that was wild.
but I
it
think
was wild.
teenagers respond to shit really inappropriately because that's their coping mechanisms. as
yeah,
well.
especially as someone
You
who
know?
is a authority figure.
And did anyone else think he kind of overacted his death?
Oh, yeah, I loved it.
I mean,
That's good.
number one, I'm upset because you just killed the Fonz. I'm
But I
sorry.
thought you were meant to think that, like, as it was leading to think he was a decoy, a possible killer, and then when you see when he's actually dying, he's like this really quite
I'm really dying.
like a really quite a like wimpish man in a way. Like he didn't
Yeah.
even fight back or nothing. He was just like,
Well, there was not really a whole lot he could
I reckon
fight
that was
back
Billy.
about. He's
I
tiny.
reckon that was Billy. for
oh,
sure.
you could come on.
He couldn't have done too much. He was done
was
for.
bad.
But yeah, Arthur
And-
Fonzarelli, you
well,
overdid
alright.
that.
Unintentionally funniest moment in the film.
Arthur
when they-
Fonzarelli's
when-
death.
No, when Tatum and Sydney are talking on the porch about maybe Sydney was wrong about seeing Cotton. And they're like, okay, yeah, cool, serious moment. They go inside. There's Ghostface in the bushes. I was like got caught mid stride. He's like, ooh.
Well, then what you meant to think at that point then was like Tatum bad and trying to gaslight Sydney. Like it was not a badly done
Ooh.
mystery. That's what I was thinking
True.
at the time. I was like, is this bitch messing with her friend now? Like,
Can we talk real quickly about the soundtrack of this movie? Because
Red
Yeah.
Hot. Who didn't love the Scream soundtrack? I used to play it all the time.
so good.
Where did
Uh,
Red right here?
I love Nick Cave, but you know, I love Nick Cave. Sorry. And Alice Cooper.
Schools Out for Summer.
Not his version on the soundtrack.
No, they couldn't afford Alice.
Oh, that's right.
Not his version on the soundtrack. Okay, so obviously before the party, you got to get videos because it was the 90s, and it fills me with glee. Like that whole blockbuster. It's meant to be blockbuster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's meant to be blockbuster. That whole scene between Randy, Stu, and Billy. Cute as just a cute moment. I was like, yep. You're a bit
But it
better.
was
And that's
totes
when I-
90s. Like, who remembers
that's when
being
I
back
first
in the
was
90s,
like,
getting
"Oh,
movies to
shoot."
go and stay to friends?
Okay.
Shoot.
Was anyone else just horribly offended that Billy's out here flirting with other girls while our girl Sydney
No,
is?
because I
like,
feel like that was the kind of dude he was.
I was offended. Like, how could you do that to our girl?
Did you feel
Sure.
outraged, Katie?
Would you
Outrage.
stand in the horror section?
Did it make
Outraged.
you want to become a rad femme?
And of course,
Look
we
what I
get another iconic
look what I
line.
became.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Anyone?
I like you going here. Do it.
Everyone's a suspect. No, bro, that was in the video shop.
Oh yeah, well, but that's Randy though doing
The
that
video
line.
shop. That's
but
Rand.
it's still, you can hear him saying, "Everyone's a
Yeah. Everyone's a suspect. Spitting. Lots of spit in this movie.
Yeah, he got really passionate about that. That was really good acting.
Mhm.
suspect."
So it's party time at the biggest house in the world that I've ever seen.
Dream
Mm.
home.
yeah.
Dream home, right?
Well,
What is
And
that
look how
house? I love
beautiful
that.
that house was.
I love that you can now stay on it at
I was just gonna say,
Airbnb.
Is it Randy's house that's rentable on
Randy's
Airbnb?
house, and there was a competition earlier this year that you stay there, you're welcomed by David Arquette, dressed as Dewey. So he is dressed as Dewey. He welcomes you to the Airbnb, and sometime
Wow.
during that night, you get a phone call from Ghostface.
How
Oh,
much
that would've been
money does
sick.
it cost?
I
to
know. I
stay
would
there?
have sold my soul. I reckon. I was like,
Let's see. Let's see.
Will they do it next year?
I don't
That
know,
would be
but
amazing.
it was all promo for the new movie, which they are going all out with, which is amazing.
Oh.
It's so good to see.
Mongrels.
So it is high school party, but small high school party. Like, really, what, 15, 20 people there? But you rock on. Of course,
Yeah.
Gail Weathers shows up uninvited after she's tried to seduce Dewey. I think it's cute though, but it's really genuine because we've got to remember that Courtney Cox and David Arquette met on this movie. By the second one, they were married, right? Were they married or they were dating? By
They
the
were
second
dating
one?
at least.
Yeah. And then by the
It's-
fourth movie, they were divorced. Like, you watch the whole span of this relationship. It's cool, but I believe that relationship between those two. I think it's very cute. They're
oh my
flirty.
god.
And they're still
Very
professional. They still work together, even though.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to read you the host description on this house. Hey there, I'm Sheriff Dewey Riley, Woodsboro's faithful peace officer. I've lived here my whole life and have had plenty of experience fending off Ghostface, so there's no one better equipped to ensure everything goes smoothly during your stay. I kind of love that. I'm trying to find a price to rent this house, but there's nothing yet. But
Okay, so now we get probably again one of the more famous scenes in Scream. We get Randy's rules.
Randy's rules.
Rules to survive a horror movie. Come on, hit me with it.
Oh, never say I'll be right back.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Isn't the
Don't
one
have
about being a
sex.
virgin? Yeah.
Yes, and
Don't do drugs or alcohol.
don't drink or do drugs. Don't be a virgin, which is solid advice.
No, be a
in general.
virgin.
Don't be a virgin. And they would say, "I'll be right back," because you
It's
won't
a
be
death
back.
wish.
You'll be dead.
Yes.
And this is where we get the farewell of Miss Tatum.
Okay, I want to talk about this death because it's it's unrealistic. I mean, not that most of these. Not that
Look at
most
how
horror movies-
squished her boobies are there, though.
she was nipping that
Oh.
whole movie, or that whole scene. Yes, I paid attention. I'm sorry. So if you ever, by some godforsaken reason, got caught, the sensor would have shut down. Like it wouldn't have done what it did to her. You would have survived that, and she probably could have made it through that door too. So
But
I
it
think,
it just shows what happens when people panic, and I don't doubt that someone would try that.
true.
Mm.
Now, my next question to you guys is like, what killed her? Did it like snap her like spine?
It crushed
Did
her
it snap
face
her
because
neck?
I've seen the uncut thing, and then
Snaps
it
her neck.
crushes her head. No, it
Okay.
crushes
Yeah.
her head. You
Okay.
Yeah,
actually
but it snaps
see it
her
in the
neck as
uncut.
well.
There's a
Forgot
few
about
more
that.
frames, and you actually see her head get crushed. It's very plasticky looking and fake.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like she's
It was one of the edited deaths,
Okay.
death scenes.
I
Yeah.
always just kind of assumed it snapped her neck, but
you know, she
And
got
Sydney breaks the cardinal rule here. She gives it up.
she gave it up.
She gave it up.
She
She
got
gave it
that
up.
skeet D, that
She did
Billy
get that
D.
skeet.
She got
Yeah.
skeet deep.
But I love even now that that everyone's like, Billy's not the killer, she's still putting it together. She's like, that'd be a smart move if you use your one call to call me.
Mm.
How do I convince you that I'm not a killer? Well, hello, you are a killer. Because Billy then gets attacked by Ghostface.
Oh,
Right? Red herring. But anyway, Awesome chase scene. Shows that Sidney's not an idiot. Runs, breaks fences, gets stabbed in the chest. We get rid of our poor cameraman as well. He goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
Do we feel bad for the cameraman?
What was his name again? Kenny.
Kenny.
Do
Okay,
we feel bad for
Kenny
Kenny?
deserves
Did you like
better.
Kenny in Scary Movie version? Get off my foot, fat shit!
I'm saying justice for Kenny. Gail was just not good to him.
Gail's a bitch. That's the point.
Gail's a
But
bit.
the 10
I
second
don't
delay.
think she hated Kenny though. She just was a bitch to work with. I don't think she was horrible because I think she was genuinely
She's
quite
career
worried for
driven,
him.
and that's the whole
Yeah.
point. She's a career driven woman, which in the late 90s, early 90s was a bad thing. It made you a bitch.
Yeah,
To
it
want
made
to
you
be
Melanie
successful in your
Griffith.
career. But the 10-second delay thing was used really well, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole Jamie, he's behind you, Jamie.
Mhm.
It was cute. Your name's Jamie, and he's
Yeah,
behind
it was
you.
funny.
That's cute. I love it. Anyway,
Meta.
we're
Meta.
getting to the good part now because we're getting to the big reveal. We get Gail and Dewey driven off the road by people trying to go see a hanging principal.
Yeah.
But they discover Neil Prescott's car in the bushes. So we are still to assume that Sidney's dad is floating around somewhere, which is cute, I guess. But Sidney finds Tatum, and then she also finds a stabbed Dewey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Billy and Stu and Randy, like that. The panic of that scene. Even last night, I was like, "Oh, this is believable. Like, I believe that would happen." You know, when there's bodies just popping up everywhere and people going, "Oh, trust me," and then she does the one smart thing. She chooses herself. Fuck you both, and shuts the door. Like, good girl, Sid.
Oh, I just love when he reveals like he's not really stabbed. Just
Yeah.
Because up until that point, has any like final girl ever sort of been put in that predicament where they
like a Sophie's Choice moment?
Yeah, kind of like that. Like they did it in Friday 7 a little bit with Melissa, and Melissa actually said "fuck you both" to Tina and Nick. She chose herself, but she chose wrong. She opened the door and a fucking axe hit her in the head. But,
well, look, Sidney chose wrong too because her boyfriend ends up being a psycho killer with his friend.
yeah,
oh,
and Randy was.
Here's the
innocent, so
question.
Randy
Here's
was
the
never
question
bad.
for you. This character duo was originally based on the idea of the serial killers Leopold and Loeb, who were homosexual lovers.
yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
Do
it
we
was a little
think
bit weird.
Billy and Stu were a bit?
Curious.
I don't
Yeah.
think it had to go to like homosexual, but they obviously had this very.
There's something.
strong
There's
bond.
something weird going on, especially
it's
when
not normal.
All right, they were
when-
touching tips.
when Stu reveal when Billy
Stalking, it's
reveals
called,
the
Sword fighting.
when Billy reveals the affair between Sidney's mother and his father, Stu had no idea. Like he's like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on here? So it proves that old mate was the mastermind, and like,
But you could also see that Billy had his own plans. He was going to kill Stu too.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when it got to
He-
it,
Stu
when
was
it
going to
got
fucking
down to
die.
it,
Stu was
he
just
got
a
down
pawn.
to it. But
And he was
even-
going to go
even here-
down for the killings as well as Bobby Daddy.
And again,
Mhm.
Sydney/Nev, the acting here, impressive. Like, you see her deal with that information in real time.
Mhm.
But
She's-
how
she
about
does-
this scene, though, Steve?
She
You're
does
missing
well
the
with the
most
glassy
iconic
eyes.
scene.
She likes to hold on to that too.
Wait,
Yeah,
you're
but
getting
wait-
way ahead of
You're
yourself.
getting way ahead.
Getting way,
Oh,
you,
man.
you missed
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
probably
whoa,
the
whoa.
best part of the movie.
Probably the best part of the
Calm
movie.
down.
Because they reveal that they're going to stage the whole thing and be the survivors to get revenge on Sydney's mother, who is dead. They're going to take out pretty much everyone.
Mhm.
And we have a very interesting and very edited down knifing of each other to give themselves wounds to, correspond with being attacked like everyone else was.
Mhm.
Katie, you can do it.
Oh,
Oh wait! Oh, sorry.
Wait,
You
you're- you're saying
wait,
you're
I was doing the wrong
you're-
one. I'm sorry.
you're saying you're-
deep.
Yeah, so you have
dying
to cut
here,
it.
man.
So that's not it yet.
That's later.
Stu
Nope,
gives
that's
us
it.
a good. Stu gives us a good like comic relief in these really tense moments. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm dying here, man. Ah. So they reveal Sidney's father, who has been kidnapped and is going to be framed. Then we get
Miss Gale.
Miss Gail Weathers.
The reporter comes to,
Wait a minute.
finds the
Stumbles on
gun.
you two dipshits. Follows your plan. And saves the day. Except she didn't take the safety off the gun.
No, she got fucking punched
She
pretty
got,
hard.
she got axed. Poor Gail got axed. But you know what?
She
It
got
gave
full
Sid-
like
it gave
tombstone
Sydney
almost.
the chance that she needed to get out of there. And you
Mhm.
know what? Sydney's not a wallflower. She took that chance and went, you know what? Fuck all y'all. I'm gonna get knife. I'm gonna get my dad. I'm gonna get the voice changer. I'm gonna get the phone, and I'm getting out of Dodge in like split seconds. So more power to Sydney. I
Mhm.
love when they come back in and the phone call. Are you alone in the house? Guess I call the police and report you. Sorry, motherfucking asses. I was like, yes. She called the police.
And then
She did what every person in the movies fails to do. She called the police first.
Mhm.
The police are on their way.
and then
then-
Stu says,
She didn't really call the police.
"You bet your sorry ass I did."
My mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me.
So fucking good. So good. How do you not love that line?
And Billy,
So
I don't know.
I
thinks
believe
she's-
it though, because
Billy thinks she's in the couch for some reason.
and stuff.
And then we get the one of the fuckier moments of the movie when he's hunting Sydney, and out of that closet she comes with that umbrella. I've never
Ooh.
felt something in my chest like that before, but you're like, oh, not once, but fucking twice.
Yeah, she was.
Can you imagine being stabbed with a blunt umbrella through the chest twice?
I'd prefer not to, but okay.
Sydney
I
in
mean,
full ghost face get up. Yeah. Then we get our I always had a thing for you, Sid. Stu moment where he tackles her again. She can fucking take a hit.
Mhm.
She
Take a hit.
fought a
And
lot
you know
in
what?
this movie.
Nev is believable doing it too. Like
Hmm.
I don't know how much of her stunt work she did back then, but I believe that would be her. And we get the TV death.
Yep.
Ooh,
That big old TV. And for everyone that's like, oh, I don't think that would kill you.
it'll
I
kill
don't
you.
think you were alive in the 90s to realize how heavy
Those
TVs
TVs
were.
were. No, dead.
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 And
I don't
by all
think
means,
it-
if you don't think it could kill you, by
Try
all
it.
means, go and experiment.
I don't believe this theory that's been floating around since Scream 1 that Stu is still alive. It was one of the movie scripts that Stu is still alive.
I'm
and
sure it would have been
curating things
mentioned
from
by the
prison
fourth
and-
sequel.
Look,
I
I was
can't.
going to say,
Unless that's
if he
what's
came
coming up.
back, he'd already be back.
Ooh, that's
Like,
well. He was
unless that's
supposed to
what's
come back
coming up,
for 3. I
who
think.
knows?
And I can't remember what
But
happened.
wouldn't they know if he didn't die or not? Like he
Oh.
would have had a funeral.
Well, he was
like-
in Scream 2, so
He was. He was supposed to
Okay.
come back in 3, but the script got
The-
leaked and they changed it.
Yeah,
Something like
and
that.
then
It was either 2 or
Columbine
3.
happened, and yep,
Ugh.
whole big thing. So
Shut up.
everyone's dead. Well, we think everyone's dead. Randy shoots back to life. Gail shoots back to life. We're all good.
Just yelling at my pussy. Sorry.
And then, the killer always comes back for one final scare.
Look at Randy's fucking face.
And we get the boss ass line.
Not in my movie.
Yeah, bitch.
Fucking
Sydney
capped his ass.
saves the day at the end. Dominates those two fucks. And we get to see young Dewey alive.
Yay.
Do you
Yay.
He
Yay.
survives. Yay,
Yeah.
do.
So we've
he
got our core
survives.
cast now. Our 4 survivors that go
We
into
have
the
4
next film.
survivors. And look, if there was any doubt, and I don't think there was, because this movie did start off very, very slow at the box office because of when it opened in America. It was December, so it's not really prime horror movie time.
One of the Best performing films.
Yep. For a budget of $14 to $15 million, it made over $173 million. It became the
Jesus.
highest grossing horror movie after Halloween.
Yep.
You
From
know
that
what?
point-
You know what movie dethroned it as the best performing film in December's?
After
Fucking
that?
what women want dethroned it in 2000. What women want.
And you wonder why we want to
Think
see
about
people
this.
get killed.
Just think about that. You got this Scream, and then you get Mel Gibson trash dethroning it.
So, of course, December 20th, 1996 was the release date. We had Scream 2 by 1997.
Yep.
That's
Because it
what-
released
No
here
matter
in
what they
98,
say,
early
they
98,
were
February
ready
98,
to
it came out in
go.
Australia.
Mhm.
They were ready to go. And
Well, I remember
That's
reading
it.
an article back in the day when they said once it hit like it doubled its budget, they were screaming sequel, and then all of a sudden it was 90 million gross, 100 million gross, and they were just beside themselves. They
So
never
this- yeah.
expected it to be what it was.
the script of Scream was sold with a 5-page proposal for sequels.
Yep.
After
mean,
it. But
can
there
we-
was nothing guaranteed. But I think as soon as you double your budget, especially back then, for
Mhm.
something that was
You gotta
relatively
do a
small,
sequel.
you got a sequel, baby.
Oh.
These days, you gotta have a sequel.
And you know what? That's a sequel done correctly.
And we will talk about that again very soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of Uncensored Horror, we got to go ratings. Let's start with Luke this time.
I would give Scream 1, as far as a slasher film, 5 out of 5 scary ghost faces, because I think you couldn't do it better. It really hit every mark. It hit the humor right, hit the tension right. It had really like well-rounded characters, and it had that mystery to it that old school, like the original Friday the 13th, like who's the killer? And it was done as a whodunit slasher properly, and made it palatable to an aware audience.
Mhm.
And a new generation as well.
Teen-
Katie McCarthy.
Oh, 5 out of 5. 100%. Just what Luke said. It's so well done. It hits every mark. I mean, it's scary, it's funny, it's sexy. It just, no movie could do it the way that Scream has done it. And no movie has done it the way Scream has done it. No movie has hit that mark yet. And they never
no
will.
slasher movie.
You
No
can't.
slasher movie. Yeah.
Well, fine. No slasher movie. No movie will. No movie can.
Brooke.
Oh, I'm 5 out of 5 as well on this one too, guys. I think it was an absolute instant classic, and it will go down in history as one of my all-time favorite movies. I've introduced my son Jaden, who's 12, to this now, and while we've been catching up to do the shows, and he's loving it. So it was so well written, so well done, and kept you guessing. And look, I love a good slasher.
Totally. And I'm going to join the 5 out of 5 club. I think if you were ever going to show someone horror movies, I think this belongs up there with Psycho, Halloween, Friday the 13th Part 2. These are slashers to the core. It's smart. It recognizes what's happened before it, but also expands on it, flips it on its head. The acting, there is not a bad cast member in this movie, even though like someone like Henry Winkler did overact a little bit. You got to have that. You got to have that kind of break in there as well. It's iconic for a reason. Like there is a reason why Jamie Lee Curtis recently interviewed Nev Campbell. They are the Scream Queens. Do you know what I mean? As Katie said, nothing has come close. There were so many imitators that have tried to replicate Scream and what had happened. It's just lightning in a bottle of the right cast, the right director, the right writer. Everything fell into place. So I think it's universal. If you have not seen Scream,
Vera.
do yourself a favor.
Vera
See
has
Vera.
a of it. We've got clips of that are going to make it to the Christmas reel. Don't worry.
And don't be surprised if you see us back very, very soon. We're going to be going to college. We're going to be all kinds of saucy. We're going to all get a bob because that's what we did in the late 90s. Everyone's getting a bob. And we will see you at college next week, guys. So keep it creepy, you know, stay fresh, and whatever you do, don't answer the phone, don't answer the door, but most importantly, don't scream. Bye.